Me, is the WNBA actually a sports league, or is the WNBA a propaganda arm for the LGTBABCD community? She is defending Thomas. Listen to this.
Before we start with questions, I just want to address, what's going on with AT.
This is bad.
I think first and foremost, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think as a league, as a whole,
can you pause
So an Indiana reporter just broke ranks. And when mainstream media finally admits what independent creators have been saying for months, you know something's gone very, very wrong. Dan Dakich, someone who's defended this league, defended the coaching staff, someone with actual season tickets, just torched Stephanie White on air. We're talking a complete dismantling of how the Indiana Fever's head coach handled the Alyssa Thomas situation. And the question everyone's asking now, is this about basketball anymore, or something else entirely?
Get into the whole Caitlin Clark part of it. You got to understand where this woman, Stephanie White, is. She's a lesbian. She's, quote, married. I don't know if she's married. I don't know, whatever. To a sideline reporter that you see all the time, Lisa Salters on ESPN, an African-American woman. So she has a decision to make. She got to go home to the system. So she has a decision. Do you let your personal life interfere with your professional life, or do you act like the coach of a franchise that you could argue is the most valuable franchise in what everybody tells me is a major?
Let's set the table. Alyssa Thomas, Connecticut Sun forward, threw what most people saw as a deliberate shot to Caitlin Clark's throat during a game. Not a basketball play. The league gave her a one-game suspension. That's it. One game for what looked like an intentional attempt to injure the biggest star in women's basketball. The player who's selling out arenas, driving record television ratings, and putting the WNBA on the map in ways it's never been before. Now here's where it gets messy. Stephanie White, Indiana Fever head coach, former Purdue national champion, Indiana basketball legend, held a press conference. And instead of defending her own player, the franchise cornerstone, she opened with, "I want to address what's going on with AT, Alyssa Thomas, the player who just attacked her star."
Acceptable. Shut up. Here's what you should say. First and foremost, let me address this. The throw punch against Caitlin Clark was bullshit. It was nonsense. It was not a basketball play. And the one-game suspension was not tough enough. If you're a real league, if you are a lesbian arm, if you are an arm of propaganda for the LGTBABCD, whatever the hell it is, community, then you say asinine stuff like that. You tell me what league. You tell me in what league that we're supposed to take serious does this bullshit happen? All right, go ahead. Sorry, continue, please.
Dakich's point is surgical. No serious coach in any serious league defends a player on another team who just tried to hurt their own franchise player. It doesn't happen. If this were the NBA and someone throat-punched LeBron, you think his coach is opening the next presser worried about the attacker's feelings? You think Steve Kerr's defending the guy who just went after Steph Curry? But that's exactly what Stephanie White did. She called the situation unacceptable, vague, passive language, then immediately pivoted to lecturing about online toxicity, misogyny, and how the WNBA is an inclusive league. She spent more time defending Thomas and condemning anonymous internet comments than she did addressing the actual on-court assault against Caitlin Clark.
What we're concerned about as the head coach of the Fever, obviously, everybody with half a brain would understand that you shouldn't go online, make racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynist comments. Fine. But that's not what this is about. And you can get to that later without going first and foremost. Yeah, everybody understands that. Hell, I get death threats damn near every day. I got somebody wanting to get their damn feet hot every damn day. So what? So what? All that is a woman, Alyssa Thomas, not taking any accountability.
And here's the part that should bother you. White never once said it was a dirty play. Never said the suspension was too light. Never said that could have seriously injured our player. She wrapped the whole thing in social justice language, toxicity, racism, homophobia. turning a straightforward basketball issue into a culture war talking point. Dakich calls it out directly. This is what you do when you're not operating as a coach. This is what you do when your personal identity and your professional responsibility are in conflict, and you choose the former. White is in a relationship with Lisa Salters, the ESPN sideline reporter. She's part of the LGBTQ community, and Dakich's argument, controversial as it is that she made a choice in that press conference to protect that community's image over protecting her own player.
If, again, and I always preface everything with if this is a real league. Go ahead.
It's not acceptable. Yes, we have to continue to protect our players. We've got to continue to support our players and our.
Bro, Dan Dakich, not even a month ago, 2 weeks ago, he was defending Stephanie White blow for blow. Blow for blow. To see this, him switch up his take like this, is mind-blowing.
League, we get to play a basketball game. And AT was.
Now, let's be clear about what happened in that press conference, word by word. White said the league is about inclusiveness, competition, elevating women, elevating marginalized communities. Notice the order. Competition is third. It's sandwiched between social causes, and Dakich jumps on that immediately because it confirms what critics have been saying. The WNBA is running itself like an activism platform first and a sports league second. You want to know why people don't take this league seriously? It's moments like this. When the coach of the most valuable franchise in the league, and yes, Indiana is the most valuable franchise right now because of Caitlin Clark, can't even defend her own player without turning it into a lecture about marginalized communities, you've lost the plot.
That is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition. Our league is about elevating women, elevating marginalized communities, including and being inclusive of.
Hang on. So that's what I'm saying. Our league, competition is kind of in the middle of it. That's what your league is about. Your league is about elevating marginalized communities. So you've said exactly what I have said. This league.
But there's a bigger pattern here, and it didn't start with this press conference. Caitlin Clark has been getting physically targeted all season. The flagrant fouls, the hard screens, the cheap shots, it's been documented. And every time it happens, the response from the league and from coaches like White is the same: deflect, minimize, change the subject. Remember when Clark got hip-checked by Kennedy Carter? The league barely addressed it. When Angel Reese was involved in physical plays against her, same thing. Now Alyssa Thomas throws a shot to the throat, and instead of the Fever's coach going to war for her player, she's worried about online comments. The message being sent is clear. Caitlin Clark is not going to be protected. Not by the league, not by the officials, and apparently not even by her own coach.
So that's what the league is about. This is what I've told you on this show forever. The league is not about basketball. It is not about growing a sport. It is about a propaganda, a way to get in front of us, African-American, white lesbians. That's it. That's all. Continue, please.
Guys, Dan Dakich went and y'all can watch the full clip on his podcast. I have to 1,000% agree with Dan Dakich in this take about Stephanie White.
And then there's the all-star vote situation. Clark, who's averaging over 8 assists per game, leading the league in several categories, selling out every arena she plays in, somehow isn't a unanimous all-star selection. The voting was close, too close. For a player who is single-handedly responsible for the WNBA's massive rating spike this season, that's not just surprising, it's suspicious. You've got a player who's brought more attention to this league in 6 months than it's had in 20 years, and the league can't even unanimously put her in the All-Star game? What does that tell you about how the establishment views her? She's the cash cow, but she's not one of them. She doesn't fit the culture, and they're making sure she knows it.
because what happens in my personal life has nothing to do with what I say on this microphone. I said this last week. You have to separate the character and the content from the actual person. This is entertainment. You are professional athletes. You cannot let your personal life invade the entertainment of your audience. And your audience are basketball fans, the new ones. People that is in a place of public.
The content creator in this video, and he's right, talks about separating personal life from professional life. He's gotten death threats. Most people in the public eye have. It comes with the territory. You don't get to use that as a shield every time there's legitimate criticism. And that's what Alyssa Thomas did. After the suspension, she and others pointed to the online hate she was receiving, trying to make herself the victim. But here's the thing. You can condemn online harassment and still hold someone accountable for a dirty play. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. The fact that some anonymous accounts said terrible things to Thomas doesn't erase what she did on the court. But the way White framed it, you'd think the real crime was the tweets, not the throat punch.
Here, she starts out by saying, first and foremost, I want to address what's going on with AT. Now, let me explain something to you. There isn't a serious coach in any serious league that would defend a player on another team intentionally, and you can say whatever you want, but it was intentional, trying to injure one of their own player, much less the star player. Now, before I get...
Dakich's question cuts to the bone. Is the WNBA a sports league or a propaganda arm for the LGBTQ community? Now, that's inflammatory language, and it's going to make people uncomfortable. But strip away the rhetoric and ask the actual question. Is this league prioritizing basketball or identity politics? Because if you're running a sports league, your number one job is to protect the integrity of the game and the safety of the players. You punish dirty plays harshly. You don't let star players get targeted without consequences. And you sure as hell don't have coaches defending the aggressor. But if you're running an ideological platform that happens to play basketball, then yeah, everything White said makes sense. The sport becomes secondary to the message.
That could have seriously injured our star player. She should have had more than a one-game suspension. Instead of making Alyssa Thomas out to be a freaking martyr. But again, lesbian woman, married to an African American, she can't put her personal life aside and do what an actual coach would do. Not just somebody standing up in front of us as the face of LGTB ABCD. Listen to the rest of this.
With fans and the love-hate relationship that they have with players and teams.
And this is where Dakich's switch is so significant. A month ago, he was defending Stephanie White. He believed in her. He thought she was the right hire, that she understood Indiana basketball, that she'd build around Clark the right way. But this press conference changed his mind completely. When someone who wants to support you can't defend what you just did, that's when you know you've crossed a line. What White did was indefensible from a coaching standpoint. Imagine being in that Fever locker room. You're Caitlin Clark. You just got hit in the throat on national television. The whole basketball world saw it. And your coach, the person whose job is to have your back, goes to the podium and spends her time defending the other player and lecturing about internet trolls. How do you walk back into practice and trust that person?
League is run for and by lesbians, angry African American lesbians. If you want to go to a marginalized community, there's your number one, right there.
The business side of this is staggering too. The Indiana Fever's value has skyrocketed since drafting Clark. Ticket sales, merchandise, local TV ratings, everything is up. This franchise went from irrelevant to the most watched team in the league overnight. And it's all because of one player. Caitlin Clark is the reason Stephanie White even has this job. The previous coach, Christy Sides, got fired despite making the playoffs. Largely because the organization wanted someone who could maximize the Clark era. And now White is jeopardizing that. Because if Clark starts to feel unsupported, if she starts to think the organization isn't protecting her, what happens when her contract is up? What happens if she decides she's tired of being the punching bag while her own coach plays politics.
Perception, get death threats. Do you guys know how many death threats I got, man? Within my little 5 years of doing you. I don't give a damn. Pull up. You stand 10 toes down. Dang. Like, what is you saying, bruh? This is what you signed up for. And this is why people do not take this league serious. Because they can't even take comments serious when it comes to the way this league is run, when it comes to the way people criticize them. They always want to play the victim. Get down in the comment section. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Be sure to hype the video, like the video, subscribe to the tribe. Till next time, shake the haters off, and thanks again.
Let's zoom out for a second. The WNBA has a massive opportunity right now. Caitlin Clark is a generational talent and a generational draw. She's doing for women's basketball what Tiger Woods did for golf, what Wayne Gretzky did for hockey in non-traditional markets. She's bringing in new fans, new sponsors, new media deals. The league's attendance is up 40%. Ratings have tripled in some markets. This is the moment the WNBA has been waiting for since it launched in 1997. But instead of protecting that investment, instead of building the entire league around maximizing this once-in-a-generation opportunity, you've got coaches like Stephanie White more worried about ideological purity than winning. You've got officials letting Clark get mauled. You've got veterans in the league who seem to resent her success rather than embrace it. It's self-sabotage, and the longer it goes on, the more it's going to cost them. Because Caitlin Clark has options. She could play overseas for more money. She could transition to media. She could do 100 different things. The WNBA needs her far more than she needs the WNBA. And if they don't figure that out soon, they're going to waste the biggest gift they've ever been given.
So much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight out like nonsense, hate nonsense. And it is absolutely unacceptable. Most of this coming from the online community. Most of this, in my heart of hearts, I believe, not coming from WNBA fans, Indiana Fever fans. I believe that this is people who are using our league, using our players to further divisive agendas.
Can you hold on for 1 second? Hold it there. So that's what...
Here's what Stephanie White should have said. It's not complicated. What happened to Caitlin was unacceptable. That was not a basketball play. It was dangerous, it was intentional, and the one-game suspension isn't enough. Our player could have been seriously injured, and as a league, we need to do better at protecting all players, especially our stars. I've reached out to Caitlin, and we're focused on moving forward as a team. 30 seconds. That's all it would have taken. Defend your player, call out the dirty play, move on. Instead, she gave a 2-minute speech about inclusivity and online hate that made Alyssa Thomas sound like the victim. It was a masterclass in how not to handle a crisis. And now she's got mainstream reporters who wanted to support her calling her out publicly.
For the birthday wishes, I'm out of...
So what happens next? That's the question everyone's asking. Does Stephanie White walk this back? Does she have a private conversation with Caitlin Clark and try to repair the damage? Or does she double down, stick to the inclusive league talking points, and hope this blows over? Because here's the reality, it's not blowing over. Dakich has a platform. Other media members are starting to ask the same questions. Fans are noticing, and Caitlin Clark, whether she says it publicly or not, is watching how her coach handles this. She's watching whether the organization has her back or whether she's on her own. The Indiana Fever have a choice to make. They can prioritize winning, which means protecting their franchise player at all costs. Or they can prioritize optics and ideology, which means more press conferences like the one Stephanie White just gave. They can't do both. And the longer they try to straddle that line, the more damage they do to the one thing that's actually working: Caitlin Clark's ability to put this league on the map. The WNBA has spent decades trying to grow. They've tried different marketing campaigns, different rule changes, different everything, and nothing worked. Then Caitlin Clark showed up, and suddenly everyone's paying attention. The formula is right there. Protect her, build around her, let her be the face of the league without apology. But if they can't even get her own coach to defend her when she gets hit in the throat, what does that say about where this league's priorities actually are? So here's the question. Do you think Stephanie White should still be coaching the Indiana Fever? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit the like button if you want to see more coverage like this. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're breaking down every angle of this story as it develops. And share this with anyone who still thinks the WNBA is serious about growing the game. Because after this week, that's looking like a harder and harder argument to make.